Tuned for ICRT News and Weather coming up next.
Mark.
We're ICRT, FM 100, Taipei, Taichung, and Kaohsiung. Your news, Taiwan and the world.
Good afternoon, it's 4 o'clock. And I'm Nancy Sun with the top of the hour news. In Taiwan news, the newly appointed education minister is denying working illegally with Chinese corporations. Wu Mao-kun has repeatedly been questioned over his involvement with mainland Chinese businesses, including a superconductor materials company in Western China. The minister contends that these accusations are baseless, explaining that he has only participated in academic exchanges and acted as a consultant purely in matters pertaining to his field of study. Wu also points out that such interactions are common between experts and academics on both sides of the strait, and suggests that he's being targeted due to his highly visible position in the government. Meanwhile, a new poll finds that over half of those surveyed are pessimistic about the future of democracy in Taiwan. The survey from the Taiwan Foundation for Democracy suggests that 54% do not see a bright future for democratic law on the island, while 36% are optimistic that Taiwan's democracy will continue to gain strength. On Coss-strait ties, the polls find that 34% support maintaining the status quo and almost 28% prefer making the status quo permanent. And regarding the current DPP government's performance, 58% indicate they are not satisfied, while almost 36% expressed satisfaction. And former President Chen Shui-bian is planning to make another public appearance. Chen will apply with the Taichung prison for permission to attend a banquet in May for the Ketagalan Institute. Chen's son, Chen Zhizhong, says his father's appearance will be completely non-political in nature, nor will it have anything to do with upcoming year-end elections. He says his father will go to meet old friends and thank them for their support, though he says it is possible that his father may make some remarks at the banquet. Chen is currently out of prison on medical parole after being convicted of bribery and sentenced to 19 years behind bars. His medical parole began in January of 2015 and has been extended multiple times since then. In international news, U.S. President Donald Trump's nominee for Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has met significant opposition in the Senate after it was revealed Pompeo met secretly with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Our correspondent, Sagar Magani, has the details.
The Senate Foreign Relations Committee is so divided over Mike Pompeo's nomination, it could be forced to take the unusual step of sending his bid to the full Senate without a favorable recommendation, which would be a rare rebuke of a cabinet pick. The panel's top Democrat is the latest to announce his opposition. Among other things, New Jersey's Bob Menendez says he's concerned Pompeo failed to tell him about the North Korea trip. Other Democrats say they will also vote against Pompeo, though he is expected to get enough votes to replace Rex Tillerson as America's top diplomat. Sagar Magani, Washington.
And finally, an international corruption watchdog group says the world's group of G20 industrialized and developing nations have made only slow progress in improving the legal tools to ensure transparency. Transparency International says 11 G20 countries still have weak or average frameworks to fight financial secrecy. Transparency says good progress has been shown by France, Germany, Italy, and Brazil, but Britain is still the only G20 nation to have a central register of beneficial ownership information publicly available. Canada and South Korea are listed as weak, while the U.S., Australia, and China improved from weak to average. And now taking a quick look at this afternoon's weather back here in Taiwan. We have mostly clear skies in the north and partly cloudy skies in the center, east, and south. Current temperatures now, Taipei 28, Taichung 27, Kaohsiung 29, and Hualien 23. And that was the ICRT News at 4 with me, Nancy Sun.
Thank you for tuning in for Easy News on ICRT.
Right.
wasn't nerve-wracking at all.
You doing all right, Nancy?
Oh, still breathing, still breathing.
Okay, so not a lot of questions in today.
Yeah.
You got a lot of love today, though. Let's see.
Oh, yay.
Sandy Sue, hello, Sandy.
Hi.
Justin
hi.
Lee. Justin Lee says hi, Nancy.
Hi.
Wu Mei Zhu, hello.
Okay, I'm glad you're reading the names because I'm so bad at reading Chinese.
I'm not even sure if I got that one right earlier.
Sorry.
Yeah, good afternoon to Nancy's son, Lisa Yu says excellent.
Good.
Ke Da Li, wow, no noticeable break.
Oh, God.
Sugar Apple, that's awesome. Lisa says I love her.
Yay.
Be pure and perfect. So anyway, this is our new news segment on the live.
right.
Because the 4 o'clock is usually when, after all the big stories have broken,
That's
and
right.
the news that's probably going to happen is going to happen. So what would you say the biggest news story of today is?
One of the biggest news stories is probably what's going on with the education minister. It's totally a political story, but then, usually the big stories are. There's a lot of questions over whether he worked for China in some capacity, like a Chinese corporation or a Chinese state-run or state-funded, some kind of organization. Questions about his citizenship. There's a lot of questions.
Citizenship?
Some people are suggesting that he has dual citizenship. So he said that while he was studying in the U.S., he did get some kind of identification, but he said he's actively renounced that.
Okay.
So he says it's not supposed to be an issue. And then that's been ongoing. That's been an ongoing story, especially with the NTU president-elect and what's going on with whether he's going to become the actual president or not. So it's an ongoing issue.
There's a bit of a glare here. I'm going to try to get rid of that.
Okay.
We have some people
Good
coming in.
side.
Here, I'll give you your phone back.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Just so you know who's saying hi to us. We have Xu Haowei, what is that? He Weiwei, and
Weiwei.
Eva Lien saying hello.
Hi. I love how all these ladies are listening to the news.
So even after this has been in the news for days now, so you said this is the biggest story even after days.
Yeah, well, he's just been appointed today, officially appointed today, confirmed. So it's his first day on the job. It just happened this morning, and even before he was appointed, there's all these questions, and it's gonna be, people are saying, he's an education minister, politics shouldn't get involved, but then there are other people who are saying, this is about national security, national interest, and so there's two sides of the story.
Okay, what was the second story today? We have the second story, which is...
This is so sad. This one made me so sad. There was a poll from this group called Taiwan Foundation for Democracy, and they're saying that half of the people that they surveyed, and I think they surveyed over 1,000, so half the people they surveyed are pessimistic about the future of democracy in Taiwan. This is you, Leslie, but about the U.S.
What do you mean? What?
This is like a lot of people being like, oh, nothing good's going to come out of it. We're on a downturn, a spiral.
Don't make this one about me.
Yeah, you're just hiding behind the camera. Anyway, so over half of people say we're not headed to a good future for democracy, but 36% say they're optimistic about it.
36?
36.
Wait, but Taiwan is a democracy. What's the alternative?
The alternative, well, there's a lot more details of this survey. It also asks, I think the question is sort of roundabout asking about cross-strait relations.
Oh.
So there's people who are saying that they want to maintain the way it is right now. And then there's also questions asking people, do you want it to stay this way forever? Or do you want it to stay this way and then Taiwan to eventually declare independence? Or stay this way and eventually become a part of China? There's a lot of different variations. So I think that's their roundabout way of asking this.
So it wasn't a straight-up survey asking... democracy, yes or no?
No, how can it be? Yeah, we're a democratic system.
Let's see. Tim says Tim
Oh my God.
says you have lots of hand motions. Lol.
Okay, I really cannot stop. I must be Italian. I must be part Italian.
Do you like pasta?
I do.
Okay, Smile Lou says, wow, Nancy is really pretty.
Oh, thank you.
As if that's a surprise. Nancy.
Come on now.
Okay, the third story today was about the new public opinion. Not public opinion, but public appearance of...
Yeah, Chen Shui-bian.
So what's the deal with him? I know he does a lot of There's been controversy in the past because he gets parole a lot. Is he still in prison? He hasn't been pardoned yet.
He is out on a medical pardon, so that means he has they've deemed that he has health issues that require special treatment, and so he needs to be physically out of a prison to treat these various issues that he's had. Oh, look at, I'm still doing it. Anyway, and so there was controversy last month, actually, because his son, Chen Shui-bian, is running for Kaohsiung City Council. And then so he was at a campaign event, and then Chen Shui-bian attended, and he had permission from Taiwan prison, where he's supposed to be, to attend the event. But then one of the requirements was that, or there were 4 requirements. One was that he wouldn't get up on the stage. One was that he wouldn't make a public speech. He shouldn't talk about politics. And then the last one was he wouldn't give any interviews. And so the one that he broke was he got up on stage to hug his son.
Oh.
And so a lot of people see that as like publicly supporting some kind of political figure. So Taichung prison actually reviewed the case, and they said in the future he's not allowed to attend any more events. So now there's this event coming up with the Ketagalan Institute, which is founded by Chen. And so he's applying to Taichung prison. Who knows?
Does it look like he's going to get it?
Who knows? Officially on paper, according to past statements, no, but
who knows?
Who knows?
Dylan Sue says, "Good afternoon, Nancy and Leslie." Oh, hello, Dylan.
Hi.
He knows I'm here too.
Hi.
Most excellent. Okay,
Good to see you.
So this is for a public appearance where?
This is for a public appearance. I don't know.
It's just a public appearance?
A banquet in May, yeah. I know
Okay.
it's in May, and it's going to be for the Ketagalan Institute. I don't know if they've confirmed a venue or if they have a usual venue or not.
Okay, so that was the 3 Taiwan stories that we had today. Number 1 was Minister denies China cooperation, the education minister. And who's the education minister now? It's Wu Mao Kun. Okay. Kun. I don't know. It's in pinging.
And Justin Lee says, no! Justin Lee says, let's interrogate Nancy, people. Brainstorm time right now. Turn off Google. What is it? All right, can you talk about... Oh, thank you.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Oh, you threw me a softball. Can we talk about your daily work schedule? Like, what do you do on a daily basis? What do I do on a daily basis? Well, first, I come into the office at 9 o'clock, and then I have coffee. One of the essential parts of work at ICRT. If you've paid attention to what we've been doing on Facebook, you know our DJs had a protest about that. And then usually I start my first cast of the day at 10. So when I come in at 9, I'm having the coffee, but I'm also writing the stories. Reading about what's happening in international news, and then also reading about what happened in Taiwan news. And so I'll take those stories and then collect them and choose the ones that I think fit for the 10, especially the breaking stories, and then I'll rewrite and then read at 10. That's at 10. And then various casts throughout the day. If you also look at our podcast, I also do the easy news and the easy news. So if you want a way to listen to like an easier version of like serious news, then you can check that out on our website. And then I do the 4 o'clock cast.
10 and 4.
10 and 12 and 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's why we needed you here at the 4. Yeah, so that was it. Justin Lee, is that enough for you? If you got any more questions, get them in. Anything about the news, about Nancy, about what the news... Because Nancy's going to be doing this regularly now. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. She'll be hopping on the Facebook Live and making sure all of your questions about the news have been answered. Not getting a lot of news questions here.
No deer caught in the headlights space. That's
so
not
if
what
you
that
have
is.
any questions about the news, 如果跟今天新闻有关的问题，请尽量问。No.
Or if you have questions about what we do with the news at ICRT, or if you saw something on the ICRT blog that you're interested in, or if you want to practice your English for, work, for tests or whatever, we also have apps and, websites and stuff for that too. So you can ask us.
Those of you who don't know, ICRT ICRT's blog is run by Nancy. She does a lot of the writing.
I do. If you're interested in reading about English in the news, like interesting sayings and weird slang that you can find often in the news, Jane Lee, one of our other newscasters, she writes this blog post, a series of blog posts called English in the News. And basically you can read about the latest news, but with interesting bits of phrases in it.
Okay. And no further questions. Ke Dali says awesome. He likes what we're doing, obviously. Let's move on to the international stories today.
Okay. First international story is the U.S. Something sort of kind of to do with President Trump. I feel like this man is keeping the news very busy. And that's all I say about that. So there is a new nominee for Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, who is currently, I believe, the CIA director, and he was just made CIA director last month, I think. So basically, President Trump wants him to be the Secretary of State, who is the main head diplomat for the country.
So to put that in some perspective, 那等于就是台湾的外交部长.
Yeah. With direct access to the president. And then there's a lot of there's always going to be pushback because there's two opposing parties, but then a lot of people are saying we just recently found out that Mike Pompeo met with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, and that was all conducted in secret. Nobody knew about it until today, and so early yesterday. So basically people are saying, how can he conduct diplomacy and answer to the Senate and to all the other checks and balances in power in the United States if he conducted this huge meeting in complete secrecy?
How long ago was this meeting?
They're saying that this meeting happened last month.
Hi, Jay. Sorry, Jane.
Sorry, Jane.
Jane needs to use the new studio. Okay, we'll hang out here for a little bit.
Yeah, so it happened a couple of weeks ago, and so nobody apparently knew about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It happened a couple of weeks ago. Nobody knew about it. He met with Kim Jong-un, but do you think
this month? Sorry.
Here's a little bit of a personal question. Do you think because of the nature of the CIA's work, I mean, they are in Chinese 中央情报局, right? And that comes with a few implications, right? You think about, what do you think about? You think about Jason Bourne when you think of the CIA. So of course they're going to do stuff in secrecy. Is this much of a shock?
Yeah, I think the issue is also that aside from conducting this meeting in secret, a lot of people have the impression that Mike Pompeo is more of a hawkish politician. A lot of people use the word hawkish, and it basically means somebody's how do I put this politically correct, in a correct way? He's more prone towards non-diplomatic means of resolving international situations. So basically they're saying, how can you make this guy the Secretary of State, who is the head diplomat of the country, if he's more prone towards using possible force?
All right, guys, let us know what you think about Mike Pompeo, the CIA director, being the new Secretary of State in the States. This next story right here,
which I didn't read because Joey stole a minute of my news time.
Oh, you didn't? Okay, you didn't get to read that one.
I didn't read this one. There was, and I shouldn't be laughing. This is a terrible thing. There was a shallow earthquake in Indonesia, and 3 people were killed, and hundreds of homes were damaged. The 3 people killed, I believe they were killed when a building collapsed. It was two elderly people, a couple, and a younger boy. And so 21 people were hospitalized with injuries, and then 2,100 people are in temporary shelters. So check.
And that happened when?
This happened earlier today.
Okay, so I know some of the ICRT listeners, a lot of them actually have some family back in Indonesia. Make sure that your families are okay. And this last one right here, this is the last story that you read. Did you read this one?
I did read this one. There's this group called Transparency International, and they're basically an NGO. Why are you smiling?
Look at the comments.
Oh my god!
Look at the comments.
Hi, honey. Love you too. Okay, back to the news story. There's a group called Transparency International. They're basically an international NGO, and they watch out for government transparency, and they fight against global corruption. And so they're saying that they have a new report, and they're saying that the group of 20 countries in the world, the global group of 20, they're making slow progress in becoming more transparent. And this is an issue because 2 years ago, there was this whole bunch, this huge leak of information called the Panama Papers. And it basically showed the public and a lot of governments how rich people or rich corporations will hide their money in overseas shell companies, like fake companies set up to hide their money in. And so since then, there's a huge push for more transparency in governments and in companies. So Transparency International says 11 of those G20 countries still have weak or average scores. Some of the weak countries, Canada and South Korea.
Wait, Canada doesn't have transparency?
I know, right? They're basically rating that on press freedom, info access, government accountability. There's a lot of different factors. Okay, so Canada, South Korea are weak. U.S., Australia, China improved from weak to average.
Which one?
Weak to average.
Korea?
U.S., Australia, and China.
Weak to average? No, I'm just saying, I think those countries should be held to a higher standard. I thought it would be more than that.
I don't think this is exclusively on human rights, so I'm not gonna get any more specific about that. Anyway, and actually, if you're interested, I looked this up also. Taiwan, this was in the news a while ago too. So Taiwan is also in this ranking. In 2017, so not this year just started. So in 2017, Taiwan was ranked 29th out of 180 countries. So the higher you are up on this ranking, the more transparent you are, which means the better.
There's less corruption.
Less corruption.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes.
So
29th out of 180.
As far as that goes, it's just Taiwan 不是很贪污.
On the 180 country scale. Yay.
Okay, we'll take it. Okay, and those were the 6 news stories today?
That's right.
Okay, so if you guys had any questions, I don't know, what do you think they should do? I mean, there's not a lot of questions today. Ke Dali, thank you for sharing the ICRT blog. 谢谢你分享那个 ICRT 的部落格哈，因为我们的那个部落格的 editor 跟我们的主要的 you know,
it's a fun job. It's fun to write about like lifestyle and entertainment news. And if you know of an event or something that's exciting that's happening and you want to see it on the blog or you think other people will be interested, you should send us an email too, or tell me on Facebook Live, and then we'll take it up.
Yeah. So we'll see you next time for the news again on Tuesday, Thursday. Don't forget, 明天的直播内容就是我们的 Joey's Real Talk.
Yeah.
We've been a little not gonna say it. But that's why we're gonna do this Tuesday, Thursday, because originally I wanted to do it 原本想要135 but 因为礼拜五会冲突到我们 Joey's Real Talk.
And Joey's such a diva. You know, he needs his like one-on-one FaceTime, and we don't want to get in the way of that. So
Leslie sounds like Taiwan 国语. All right, 我会
Leslie is a fluent speaker of multiple languages.
Don't.
Including the language
don't give them that.
Love.
Well, no, not really.
Okay.
Also, Nancy 没有讲到，她每天早上进来第一件事情就是听我抱怨。
That's
听我抱怨。
We had a good conversation this morning.
We did have a good conversation. Well, 我会就是尽量去进步我发音。Okay, Jenny, thank you for that. Like I said, next time we go... Ali, hello. Next time is Tuesday, Thursday.
Yes.
明天是 Joey's Real Talk. Make sure you guys tune in. If you have any questions, we're going to try and stream every day from Monday to Friday now. Just need to figure out what we want to do on Monday and Wednesday. But for now, Tuesday and Thursday news, Joey's Real Talk. Joey's Real Talk on Friday. Sorry. And then these news segments we will upload to our YouTube channel. 如果你不知道ICRT 有个 YouTube 频道，请你们去追踪，然后订阅我们的 YouTube 是 youtube.com/ICRTFM100.
Or just type ICRT YouTube on Google.
Does that work?
I think so.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have to remember all these links.
Yeah, that's his job.
All right. Anything else you want to say today? With anything new, else big news-wise that you didn't really get to?
Thank you. I'm studying Italian. Okay. All right. We'll talk.
Okay. Anything else on the news today that we didn't get to that we might want to? Because I'm not news. You're news.
Right.
You've been reading the news all day. 你看了一整天. Is there anything 你要补充或者是?
Well, James coming in soon with the lifestyle news too. There's a lot of fun events going on. So if you want to check out some like entertainment and some lifestyle stuff, that's coming up later on too.
Nancy's smarter. To what? Oh yeah, Nancy is smarter. I guess Jenny's talking about the way you have to listen to me complain.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No, we mutually complain to each other and solve each other's problems. It's what we do here for, our coworkers.
Oh, this is important. Ke Dali asks, what are the sources
For
our news? That's a really important question. You might want to knock that one out of the way.
Okay, sure. For international news, we subscribe to the Associated Press. Generally, that's it's an American organization, and a lot of their news is very American-centered, but it's a good source for political news, which is in the news a lot lately. And then I also check out the BBC. I really like BBC. I think they do a good job of world coverage. And then sometimes Reuters and Bloomberg for my more like financial stuff. For Taiwan stuff, sometimes the Apple Daily. It's really fast. I don't know why I'm apologizing. And then also Central News Agency, CNA. I think Eric Gao sometimes looks at Yan News, a couple of different sources. Taipei Times, China Post. Yeah, a couple of different sources.
Sude Simone has a really interesting question.
What do you think about the referendum that will come up about banning gay marriage? Are you surprised? I'm so disappointed. Yeah, actually, that's been in the news for a lot of different reasons. I don't know if I don't think the referendum is on banning gay marriage. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, too, because this is a really complex issue, but I think the two referendum proposals, they were proposed by a group that is against putting same-sex marriage into the civil code, and they want to make a special separate law for it. So all of the proposals are coming from that group, and that's what I think people are upset about. I don't think it's banning gay marriage. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it is.
I think, I don't know. There's people who like to squeak, but when it comes down to it, I believe that gay marriage will prevail. Okay. That's just my answer, though.
Sure.
That's my answer. I believe in that stuff.
Are we allowed to have an opinion on this show right now?
Not.
Oh, I really want to say what I can. I think I'm supposed to be, unbiased, right? Because I'm in news. Okay. We'll discuss that issue on another date. Tune in again.
Tune in again, guys. Next Tuesday, and then see me and Nancy tomorrow, possibly on Real Talk, Friday, 3 p.m. All right? Bye, everybody, and bye Nancy.
Bye.